My obsession with the obscure and unexplained had brought me to many peculiar places, but none as bizarre as the town I was about to seek. I stumbled upon a thread on another forum dedicated to all sorts of paranormal phenomena, where they were discussing a town called Lockwood Hollow. It was said to appear at random, nestled deep within a dense, uncharted forest, only to vanish without a trace as mysteriously as it had emerged. Intrigued and unable to resist the allure of the unknown, I resolved to discover Lockwood Hollow myself. I spent countless hours scouring the web, collecting pieces of fragmented information from dead accounts, and compiling a rough map that should lead to the town's supposed location. Armed with an overstuffed backpack full of supplies and a drive fueled by insatiable curiosity, I set off on my quest to find the Lockwood Hollow, the town that doesn't exist. I arrived at what seemed to be the forest's edge, my body sending a shiver that ran down my spine, giving me all the confirmation I needed. The woods were unnervingly silent, the thick canopy above blocking most sunlight and casting a perpetual twilight. It was quiet. The only sounds accompanying me were of rustling leaves underfoot and the occasional caw of a lone crow in the distance. After several hours of trekking through the oppressive forest, I began to doubt the existence of Lockwood Hollow. I questioned my sanity, wondering if I was chasing a mere figment of someone's imagination. But as I was about to abandon my search, a ray of sunlight pierced the canopy, illuminating what looked to be a narrow dirt path. With renewed hope, I followed it and soon found myself standing on the outskirts of a small town, beside an old broken road sign that read Lockwood Hollow. The town was a hauntingly beautiful sight, reminiscent of a bygone era with its Victorian architecture and cobblestone streets. Yet it was silent, eerily quiet, feeling completely devoid of any human presence. A palpable sense of unease washed over me, filling me with unease, but my curiosity urged me to keep exploring, to learn more about this forgotten place, and to find what caused its demise. I wandered the empty streets, hoping to find some semblance of life. As I continued to explore, I started to notice the deterioration of the town. Ivy had climbed up the walls and covered everything like a shroud, exposed rotting wood of a long-forgotten era beneath the once vibrant paint that had faded and torn away. It appeared as though time had forgotten about this location. Drawn by an unexplained force, I found myself in front of an old, decrepit church. Its heavy wooden doors creaked open with a groan, revealing a dark, musty interior. Compelled to explore further, I cautiously stepped inside. The church was abandoned, with everything coated in a thick layer of dust. The pews were overturned, as if knocked over during a rush, and the once beautiful stained glass windows were cracked and shattered. Towards the back of the church, I noticed what looked like a massive book resting on a wooden pedestal near an old altar. As I approached, it was though the air seemed to grow colder, and an oppressive silence enveloped me. The book was bound in ancient weathered leather and held together by rusted metal clasps. Its yellowed pages contained a long list of names, each accompanied by a date. As I read the names, my blood ran cold. Towards the bottom, I found that my own name was inscribed on the parchment, followed by today's date. I was in shock. I felt the weight of unseen eyes upon me, and the silent air was now filled with sinister whispers that echoed through the empty church. Gripped by an immense feeling of terror, I fled the church, my heart pounding like a drum in my chest. I sprinted through the streets, desperate to escape this cursed town, but no matter how far or fast I ran, the town only seemed to stretch on endlessly, the streets and buildings blurring together, forming into a sick and twisted labyrinth. As night descended, a dense fog crept through the town, limiting my vision and leaving me chilled to the core. The whispers grew louder and more menacing, and I sensed a malevolent presence lurking just beyond my sight, always at my heels. I knew I couldn't escape Lockwood Hollow. It was a place that wasn't meant to be found, a purgatory for those foolish enough to seek it. Hours began to stretch into days. I found myself trapped in an endless cycle of fear and desperation. I wandered the fog-filled streets, searching for any means of an escape, but nothing worked. The town had a life of its own, shifting and changing as if to taunt me. The whispers never ceased, and at times they seemed to morph into ghastly laughter or sobs that echoed through the damp air. Shadows danced at the edge of my vision, lost souls, or malevolent entities arriving to feed off of my sanity. Slowly, I started going mad, losing all sense of time and reality. The town that once was eerily beautiful had warped into something twisted and nightmarish, as if the very fabric of Lockwood Hollow was tainted by the darkness that enveloped it. In my moments of lucidity, I scoured the town for clues, trying to piece together the mystery of Lockwood Hollow, and to just maybe find a way out. I found journals and letters in abandoned homes, recounting the lives of the town's former residents. Each claimed of a once thriving community that had fallen victim to an unknown force, a malevolent entity, one that sought to consume the souls of those foolish enough to enter its domain. It became clear that I wasn't the first visitor ensnared by Lockwood Hollow's sinister web, and I fear I will not be the last. I'm starting to feel as though I am left with two choices: surrender to the darkness or fight for my survival. And so, I write these words, my final account of the horror that is Lockwood Hollow. I will leave it pinned to the front door of this church. I hope that my tale will serve as a warning to those who would dare seek this cursed town. For whoever finds this, leave now, and hope that it's not too late, and beware the lure of Lockwood Hollow, a place where the lost are destined to remain, trapped in a town that doesn't exist.